Hello, everyone. Here we are with the wonderful Madeleine Leolani. She is a treasure, and I'm beyond delighted to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much, my dear. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited for all you have to share for us, and yes, and all that will come from this video. So, stay watching because she is a treasure. So
Thank you.
I just want to say that you are an animal intuitive, a long-standing animal communicator, and you also offer, I just want to say this right, soul codes, sound activations. So soul code sounds activations. So I'm excited about that. I know that you connected to the white lions. I know that you've been with them, you received information from them. I know that you speak and communicate with special dolphins and whales. So please share whatever it's in your heart. We are delighted to have you here. So anything that you like to
Thank you
share.
so much for inviting me. I just always feel such a privilege to share whatever the animals are really, showing me so much, and it's constantly evolving. And it's as though they teach me a certain thing, or they remind me of a certain to a certain level. And it's as though they say, right, you've got that. Let's have the next step up. And the next step up just happened over the last weekend. So that was pretty mind blowing. Maybe we'll get into that. But yeah, lions, I've always had this incredible connection with lions. As a little girl, I would dream about lions, and would be quite scary dreams. But I realized that that was maybe being a little bit scared of my power. Because once I started to really understand that, the dreams became amazing, really amazing. And in 2007, I was sent uh, an email. I don't know from whom or how they found me, but it was of a white lion. And when I looked into his eyes, I nearly fell off my chair because it was like, woo. And I thought, I have to meet you. I have to meet you sometime, someday, sometime. It took me 2 years, but then I did. And yeah, and it's been this incredible journey ever since. And yeah, and in 2017, I was asked to accompany a beautiful lady who wrote this incredible book called The Silver Wheel, and she asked me to come with her. She's called Ellen Elena. She's wonderful. She's the epitome of an elfin being. She asked me to come as an animal communicator to kind of be a little bit of a bridge between the lions and her group. And we were we suddenly met these two lionesses and their cub, and we just rolled into the clearing. The cub had been hidden for a long time. Well, not for a long time. Was newly born, and the lionesses didn't want to show him too much, so they kind of hid him away. But anyway, over the radio, got a message saying if you go to this little waterhole, the lionesses are there with the cub. So we kind of crept in with the jeep, turned the engine off, and just rolled in. And one of the lionesses laid right against the wheel of the jeep, so we were kind of there. And then the mother of the cub walked past the jeep, and we were all kind of like, oh my god. And she let out this mighty roar, and I hadn't realized so much that the lionesses roar just as well as the males do. And the little cub just sat a couple of meters away from us with his paws crossed, like he was just holding court. And we all started toning and chanting and singing. And I suddenly started singing in this language, which I didn't know what it was, but it just was pouring out of me. And my lovely friend Ellen said, "Oh, you're singing Lyra." And I went, "Okay, okay." um, and when I came back, I lovely, I don't know whether you know her, Nalini Dayasara does the most amazing art. And she posted on Facebook this beautiful painting of a white leonine being with lots of star codes and glyphs and things. And underneath it said the Lyran lion. I went, oh, okay. So I realized or remembered that Lyra is so it's almost like the original star system where the Leonine beings were, and so since 2017, I haven't been able to stop singing and speaking and waking up in the middle of the night chattering away, and yeah, so I've had so many since then also amazing encounters. Um, one at the end of 2022. I went to this amazing place. It's a conservation place in South Africa called Glengareth, and they have about 73 lions there, and it's the most beautiful environment. And we rented this little cottage right in the very center, so it's as though you have 360 degrees of lions all around you. When they start to roar, whoa, it's incredible. But there's a little bit of decking, a little bit of grass, and then a fence. And right next to it is this amazing white lion called Shalom. Oh, I get goosebumps every time I say his name. And he has given me, and still gives me, the most incredible information. Absolutely amazing. Opus. About star maps and portals and just incredible stuff. So it's been a vertical learning curve, and also the connection with the cetacean nation, because I have this also beautiful connection to the whales and dolphins. And it seems like a wonderful symbiotic relationship. That they've told me that obviously the cetaceans are guardians of the ocean, the inner oceans, the cosmic oceans, and the oceans of our blue planet. Whereas the lions are also guardians of the land masses, so they work together so beautifully. So I was thinking, why am I so into lions and why am I so into whales and dolphins? But that kind of explained it to me,
Amazing.
really. We have a
I
lovely
hope,
feline joined us.
yes, I hope that my sound is okay on the recording. I keep hearing this strange sound. I wonder if it's anything to do
It's
with
probably the frequencies because
communication.
it's
Yeah.
super fired up at the moment.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, it fascinates me. Like you, I have had many I don't know what to call them, interactions with the white lions. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
when they started appearing to me, it was 2018, and I had no idea that they were real. I thought they were just, you know, beings in my dream.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that they really existed, and I was being led to information on the Zep Tepi
Oh,
on the
yes.
Golden Meridian.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in Egypt, and yes, I was being shown so much and told so much about the future of humanity. If humanity, or rather, when humanity was ready, those things would come into place. And I feel, slowly, all of the years that went by, I have, like you, I have understood a lot more or in depth of what they meant. Because to begin with, I thought it was one thing, and now I see it has multi dimensions to it, and it is both terrestrial dimensions, but also interstellar dimensions. So
Completely.
yeah, and the whale's the same, but I've never been close to one. Although I lived in California and I always hoped to. Yeah, I've never actually been swimming with them, but I have dreams of swimming with them.
Mm.
Dreams I do.
It's very hard to describe what it's like when you have an enormous humpback whale mother that kind of,
Mm,
it gives you the honor and to kind of look you in the eye, because it's really like they look completely into your soul. And very often the
mm,
calves are very playful. And I've been several times out to Tonga, and I swam. First time I swam with humpbacks was, I think, 2007. I think that was off the Silverbanks in Dominican Republic. And it says that when you're in the water with them, and they're there, and you just have to pinch yourself because you really can't believe that you're there with these incredible beings. And again, the downloads from them is just phenomenal. And I've swum with sperm whales as well. And when you're in the middle of their click streams, when they're coming up from really, really deep down, they send all these click streams like kind of sonar, and they always can, a bit like the dolphins do, they kind of feel into you where you are, and your auric field, that kind of thing. But just being totally immersed in the sound, and they also send up these huge like bubble clouds, and it's as though every cell in your body is just somehow reawakened and upgraded, and it's just phenomenal. And I remember one particular occasion when there were about 4 or 5 sperm whales underneath me, adults, and then there was a baby that couldn't dive quite so deep because of the breath, and that was just swimming with me, and that was unbelievably amazing. But then I heard them, felt them rather, coming up from beneath me, and all these coming up through me, and it was like, whoa. And then all these bubbles came up and just completely surrounded me. And it's a memory I'll never forget because I'm feeling it now as I'm saying it. And I
Wow.
kind of fell back onto the deck of the boat, completely blissed out. Absolutely amazing to have that honor of being with them. And what's so amazing when you swim with wild dolphins and whales is that with one flick of their tail, they can be gone. And if they choose to stay, it's like they're choosing to interact with you. So it's just the mind blowing of what that feels like. And those memories just go so deep in your heart. It's yeah, just fantastic. But one of the things I'd love to share is I was out in Iceland in 2000 and oh gosh, when was it? 20, I think it was. I think. Anyway, doesn't matter so much. But that was an incredible experience working with the Stone people and most amazing, amazing country. But we decided, my friend and I, my Dutch friend and I, that we'd go on a whale watching trip. So we thought we'd do kind of touristy things, but I thought, well, let's see what happens. So we got on this boat in the harbour, obviously, and it seemed like hundreds of people were getting on as well. I'm thinking, okay. So we were on, I think it was the starboard side, just right on the side of the boat, looking down, and all these people kept coming and kept coming. And then I saw this holographic shape of a dolphin come right next to the boat, and it said to me, "Well met, we are going to meet. You will see me. You will feel me." So I thought, oh wow, that's amazing, because it was just such a clear dolphin shape right beneath me, or right, yeah, below me, kind of thing. So anyway, we went out, bobbing out into the open sea, and the guide was saying, "Oh, there's a minke whale," and couldn't see a thing because there were all these bodies I was trying to peer through, and then it always seemed to be on the other side of the boat, so we were seeing nothing really, and I was a bit frustrated. Um, anyway, suddenly over the loudspeaker, the guide said, "Oh, there's a small pod of white-beaked dolphins at about 3 o'clock." So I thought, "Oh," and there they were, kind of jumping up and down. I've never really met white-beaked dolphins before, spotted and spinners and riso and all different kinds, but not the white-beaked ones. Anyway, one of them came right up and positioned herself exactly where she'd shown me and looked up at me. I went, "Oh." Um, so as humans, we like to have a kind of a handle on things. So she said I could call her Simmy. So since then, she's been coming to me in visions, and I have a beautiful oak tree who I've been kind of allocated to be guardian of in our local woods. And when I go to this tree and lean my third eye against the tree, I'm shown these amazing, amazing visions. But since I met Simmy, she's been coming with me, taking me into the inner earth oceans. We've been doing all kinds of amazing things happening in there. And what normally happens, I get this massive download. I'm out with my dog, so then I rush back to the car, do a quick voice recording where I recall what I've just been shown or received. And then I get back and kind of write it up. But it's only really a few seconds, but it's so amazing what's been happening. And over the week, well, just leading up to the weekend, that's, when might it have been? I'm trying to think now, maybe last weekend, I've been bombarded, is the only way I can say it, bombarded by video reels of octopi all the time, all the time, all the time. And I've seen that amazing documentary about my octopus teacher. I don't know if you've seen it. Fantastic. And just how incredible they are with their RNA and their DNA, and just fascinating, super, super intelligent beings. And I hadn't realized before that they actually have physically 3 hearts, which I thought, wow, that's amazing, because it is, the animals are talking all about the hearts, our hearts. And one of the things that Simi showed me was that if we go into the inner earth oceans, we can go inside beautiful shells that the whales bring onto the shore of the inner earth oceans. and we can journey within and receive, I describe it, attunements to open up a new sound chamber in our heart, so that we have, because one of the things that Shalom was saying was that now is a time for the sound scrolls, which are etheric, obviously. They're kind of being unfurled and releasing these amazing soul code sounds. And so with our extra sound chamber in our hearts, we can really fully receive that and integrate that. So that was all that going on. Anyway, so Simi took me back into the inner earth oceans, and we met the octopi, the kind of the octopus king. That's what he's. Huge red octopus came to me and said, "Oh, okay, hello," and he was saying that he was super excited and so willing to share frequencies. It's hard to really describe, because I'm sure you know the same thing. You kind of feel it, but putting it into like a verbalize is pretty difficult, because you go, "Oh yeah, I know what that is." So he was saying it's about really giving us the gift to go right back to our authentic DNA, our kind of star DNA, and that he would offer his services to help us do that. But not getting into anything negative, but just that over recent times, many humans have had their DNA very much manipulated and altered. And so he was saying that the kind of technique, or what he was going to download, would, if people were open to it, be able to help others that also might have wanted to cleanse their DNA or clear their DNA and receive that authentic kind of return to the original, or blueprint, if you like, which I thought, wow, that's amazing. So he said, yeah, well, I'm here and I'm ready. And he reached out one of his arms and touched my heart. And that was just incredible, absolutely amazing. And then he said, right, put your hand on the tree and be the tree. And that's something that I've kind of done before, but this was completely different, because I put my hand on the tree, and like the octopi, it completely changed. My hand became completely the bark, as though he was giving me the ability to do that. But then I actually was the tree, but in a much more, I can't really think of the right word, but physical kind of way. And to see my hand just be as bark, it's quite wrinkly now, but it's just absolutely incredible. So he said, with your groups that are coming, the people that are coming to you, I would be very happy to share my message and to guide them. So part of me was thinking, okay, so one of the courses that I do is called Gateways to the Ancients, where we've worked before with beautiful white elephants, ancient, obviously lots of leonines, but cetaceans as well. So I'm thinking, okay, so I've got to, not got to, this octopus wants me to share this with the group and to introduce him to the group and receive his gifts, should they be open to it. So I wanted to make I do 2 individual days of the gateways, and then the third day is called a deep dive into animal human soul healing. And quite a few people, which is such an honor, have come year on year to do the more gateways. So I always want to make it fresh and new with the new information that I receive from various places I've gone, and indigenous elders that I've met, or new amazing animal ambassadors. So I thought, right, I'm going to introduce this octopus to them. But I thought, is it going to freak them out by thinking these big tentacles are going to come and get them? So I went back to the tree afterwards and said, can you please guide me, or how am I going to do this? How am I going to introduce this without a little bit, not concerned, but just a little bit like, is this going to be a step too far for some of the people? But the tree didn't give me any information, just said, you have everything inside you, just go with it, trust. I mean, I know, but because I always want to give of my best, and I want everybody to receive really what they need in that moment. And I'm kind of getting better at allowing people to not exactly take responsibility, but to it's up to them what they want to receive and what they want to let go of or leave behind. So I'm kind of getting a bit better at that. But I just want everybody to really get the most, and I really want to give of myself the most I can. So I thought, that didn't really give me a lot of information. So up until I flew out to the Netherlands last Tuesday, and had consultations on Thursday. Had a fun day on Wednesday. Had consultations on Thursday, and then I'm thinking, okay, tomorrow's the day. Is the first day where I could introduce this octopus to the group. Still wasn't getting anything, nothing at all. And I was thinking, okay, so I had some instruments that I could borrow. I left my crystal harp and my instruments at home. So I was thinking, okay, so what music should I do? Should I do a sound journey myself or whatever? Anyway, it came to Friday, and I had a lovely group, full group, super people. And we went into the inner earth ocean, into the inner earth and in the ocean. And Simi was there, and some other whales were kind of celebrating as well. That beautiful sound and songs from them. And the octopus came and touched the group on their hearts and on their crown, and they all felt something. They all really felt his love and his gentleness. Nobody was freaked by it at all. But as I said, up until then, every time I put Facebook on or got messages, always was a reel of an octopus. I'm thinking, okay, I get the message. They're just everywhere. And the amazing thing was, everything went incredibly well. And on the second day, he brought his octopus queen. They came as well. The two of them came and did the most incredible things. I was kind of channeling them, but everybody had an impression of seeing and feeling them. And then on the train that did finally get me back to Schiphol Airport, there was a couple with a little toddler, little girl, and she was clutching this soft toy. And when I looked at it, it was an octopus. I thought, oh, of course it was. So I go, okay, I get the message. So it was so incredible that they were so really wanting me to share the information and to give that opportunity, if it resonated, to really receive that original DNA and RNA blueprint, and to be able to also share that with others and maybe help others bring them back to that original pure state. So when I saw the soft toy, I thought, oh, okay, this is getting silly now. Just, oh gosh, they just amazing. Like I said, whatever I'm doing, it's always guided by the animals. Amazing.
Amazing. What a beautiful way to live.
Yeah. I mean, they always have been my greatest teachers and healers, and all the techniques I work with humans, that I've never studied psychology, or anything to do with animal communication with any humans. Always come from the animals. Like the horses told me how to rewrite past life scripts. A cat told me how we could go back to our pre-birth soul contract and write a new contract. And the animals have been so insistent that I work in a certain way in my heart-to-heart sessions, because before, people would send me photographs and questions, and I would just sit down and just tune in and just type up a reading and send it back. And then the animal said, no, you mustn't do that anymore. You have to give those tools back to our humans to remind them that everyone can do it. It's just
Yeah.
kind of allowing them to reclaim their power, because they're so sick of. I mean, there's some wonderful communicators running beautiful, quite what's the word, basic animal communication courses, which is fantastic because it's a way of really waking people up. But what they told me was they are so fed up with just being asked, what's your favorite food? What color's your favorite bull? Or whatever. They're going, oh, for goodness sake, let's talk about soul connection. Let's talk about star connections. And I'm
Yeah.
let's do that.
Yes.
And it's so great that the people who come are obviously really ready to receive that. And the animals kind of call them. Most of the people that I worked with over the weekend were incredible holistic horse trainers, or working with beautiful horses.
Mm.
And of course, horses are phenomenal, just phenomenal beings. So yeah, been a wild ride, and it continues to be wilder.
Thank you so much. I love all of those stories. I also have had many experiences with animals and trees. Trees taught us so much. I we led a 108 days of listening to trees,
Wonderful.
and we would never have received all of those messages had we not chosen to listen. And as you say, it comes very, very fast. So
Very fast, yeah.
we always do 3 minutes, just 3 minutes.
Hmm.
And there is so much information. And yes, I'm still writing the book on those experiences of everyone. And many other people sent me their stories through dreams and
Hmm.
yeah, and true life stories of how they heal, how they change their lives with with the trees. But I know of people that are very close to animals. I know you have some we have common friends in Hawaii, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and they're very close to the dolphin and the whales.
Mm.
So yes, it fills my heart that we are so close. These beings have been here, yeah, for millennia,
Absolutely.
coding codes for humanity. And I feel we are so close to get to this point where humanity will, just everyone, not just a few of us,
Mm.
just everyone will pick up, the signals, the information, and and receive it and be
Yeah.
and walk with it. And for me, so much of the information through the animals, through my own beautiful pets that are also my guides. As I said, my dogs and my cat are my home. um a lot of the information, as I said, is both terrestrial but also cosmic, galactic.
Definitely.
And so it's amazing that you were sharing so much about the inner earth oceans.
Mm.
Because yes, I have had so much information on that through the trees,
Yeah.
and the trees telling me how they send the signals to the whales and how the whales send it through the sonars throughout the
Absolutely.
earth.
Yeah.
So every tree and every whale, but also every lion and every elephant and every octopi
Absolutely. Yeah.
are sending us and informing but empowering also the planet. But
Hmm.
because the planet is so alive, because it is frequency and sounds, as you say, I talk about geometry because I see them. I
Hmm.
see sound as geometry. Well, all of that is because we're part of everything else. And that is when I feel I cannot stop talking about this, because this is the way to remembering that we are interconnected and there is really no,
Absolutely.
we were never separate. We were never, thrown out of the whatever the Garden of Eden, or
Mm.
we have always been part of this garden, of this.
Yeah, and it's all about interspecies unification, returning to unity. Um, but one of the other amazing things is when Simi and the tree, so I love the myceliums, I love the moss beings. I'm just, obsessed with moss. I love moss. Um, but one of the amazing things that I also was another meditation I shared over the weekend was going back with Simi through the tree, through the mycelium, right the way down, and going into the ocean. And I heard again more of these kind of clicks, but what I saw were thousands of nautili, the original kind of amethyst beings from eons ago, and they were swimming around and they were sending these click streams. And as they were clicking, they were sending all these sound glyphs up. They were like shimmering and silver, just up through the ocean. And I was really fascinated with this. And they were like orca beings. They were sort of semi-humanoid, but not, and semi kind of orca. And they were herding. They were kind of sort of corralling all these glyphs into like a bait ball. And I've seen herring bait balls physically off the Azores. And then the next part of the vision was that I had to return to my original whale essence, which I've seen before, and on my skin it's kind of greeny brown, and it just feels amazing to step into that because you just feel so fluid. And I was invited to visualize swimming up through all these amazing, amazing glyphs, which were sound glyphs, or sound frequencies, fractals, and to swim up in my kind of primordial, um, well, before that kind of thing, cosmic whale, up through all these glyphs, and then allow whichever glyphs I needed to receive would just kind of land on my skin and then just kind of melt into me. I could just kind of absorb them, and then it became like a portal of light to swim up through the Earth's surface, and then up into the cosmos, and then share these fractals and just share that whole like shower of sound. And that felt amazing. And when I shared that vision with the group over the weekend, they had the most amazing experiences. Absolutely incredible. So it's so lovely to receive all that and then share it with others who are open to it, and then get their feedback. It's just it's just such an honor. It's really humbling. I absolutely love it. But yeah, so, and then I've been going down into the inner temples and crystal pyramids, and I had two kittens, two brothers, and I called them Thebes and Giza. And heartbreakingly, Thebes was killed by a car when he was only about 8 months old. Broke my heart. But he told me that he'd only ever wanted to come to reconnect because when he was a tiny little kitten with a little triangle tail, he turned and looked at me, had these beautiful blue eyes. And as I looked at him, I just saw him as a white lion. And he said, I'm here, I'm here. So, and he was so affectionate. He just wanted to wrap himself around me because my previous cat wasn't cuddly. He was an amazing being, but he wasn't cuddly, whereas Thebes was so cuddly. And his brother Giza, who I still have, he's affectionate when he feels like it. It's like, yeah, you're my servant, but he's also very much a space holder. He's always like a Buddha cat. He's always listening and feeling and holding space. But when Thebes was killed, it was just so sad. But it was always about just that reconnection. But 2 or 3 years after he passed, he told me that he was going to come back to me, but this time he wanted to be called Telos. So I thought, oh, okay, that's an interesting name. And the very day afterwards, my Dutch friend said, I've just been reading this amazing book about the Agathans and about this inner city called Telos. I went, what did you say? What did you say? What did you just say? And said that there's an inner city, which is kind of like a library of love that the whales called it, called Telos. And I said, well, that's what Thebes says. When he comes back, he wants to be called Telos. So I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. So one of the visions that I had was going back down into the inner earth temples and crystal pyramids, and I met this being who is the guardian of some of these pyramids, this kind of crystal cities, and he said, it's me, I'm Telos, I'm Telos. So I thought, okay, wow, how amazing is that? And he gave me like a crystal ankh he put in my heart, and when I was back with all the lions with Shalom, it was like very, very big enclosures, but just by the little cottage that we were renting, it was like there was three, it was where three of the enclosures met. And I put this thought out there, and I just said, wouldn't it be amazing if it all came together and roared right here, right in this kind of corner of the kind of boundaries. And that night, we were sitting under the stars, and the stars are incredible. And it was very, very dark apart from the starlight. And I just saw and felt the shape of Shalom walk in front of me by the fence and go to the other fence. And there was another beautiful lion who's no longer here, he's now transitioned, and he was called Aslan. And there were three other males in the sort of the next boundary of these huge, amazing enclosures. And I saw, so I got up very quietly and stood right next to the fence, right next to where I could just about see the outline of Shalom. And of course, they started to roar. And when you're that, I mean, it's earth shattering and terrifying all in one, and awe inspiring in one go. But when you're that close, it was almost deafening, and I shall never forget it. But I felt that they were really activating this ank inside my heart again, reconnecting me to my Lyran hearts, because the Lyran beings, I don't know how this resonates with you, but I feel they've shown me they have 4 hearts. So I thought it was interesting with the octopi having 3 hearts. But it felt like, again, it was just expanding all my hearts really back into my original kind of Lyran etheric body. But I really felt this huge activation of this etheric ank that Telos had given me. So when they're roaring, it's like everything was vibrating. It's like your bones rattle. It's just so incredible. And that I was so blown away, because I'd put that thought out there. But it's always still part that I'm never really sure if that's actually going to happen. But they all did. They all came. And it was just phenomenal to receive that. Absolutely amazing. So I felt all sorts of things were being reawakened, activated. It was just amazing, amazing. So I'm so in awe of them knowing exactly what we need. And I think in the past there's been such arrogance by humans, feeling that we are the superior species, and really we're just about trying to play catch up, because I've worked for over 20 years now with people and their animals, dogs and cats, and a lot of horses. But about 2 years ago, I had a lovely Austrian lady contact me, and she had this pet, weeny little miniature hamster, who was called Khaleesi. Khaleesi. Now, if anyone's watched Game of Thrones, you know that Khaleesi is a pretty awesome character. It's a very, very big name for a tiny little creature. And she sent me a photograph of Khaleesi before she passed, of her in a hamster wheel, like she's got one paw on the wheel and another paw going. Do you really think I'm going to do this nonsense going around in a hamster wheel? No. Because she showed me that although she'd chosen that particular incarnation, the wee little hamster, she was this enormous dragon being. And her message to her human was, step into your dragon heart, be more dragon. I'm getting goosebumps, because whenever I talk about her, I feel her. She was
just gonna about
Say again, sorry, Anu.
I was just gonna ask you about the dragons.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got introduced to dragons, wow, quite a long time ago now. I worked with a dragon called, with a dragon called Grass, who used to help me cleanse horses' auras. And he would kind of clear any, because the horses absorb an awful lot of stuff from humans and environments as well. And he would show me where they were holding this in their outer aura, but also their sub auras. So he would help me to just clear that, and then create a new aura, and infuse with whatever colors that he felt, or the usually a horse, like I said, the horse would need. And also with humans, he could cleanse any negative entities or energies, and he could be quite fierce. He could be quite kind of napalm. So I would say to him, I don't want any singed eyebrows, just gentle please. And sometimes he would just use his breath. But yeah, so, and the whales and the dragons asked me to create an oracle card set, which I did, mainly with most of the whales that I've met physically, but the dragons are part of the kind of team now. So again, that's just evolved and evolved more and more, which is just fantastic. But going back to the little tiny hamster, it's just showing that whatever physical form the animals have, they are, I feel that all the souls are completely equal. We just choose which physical vehicle best suits our evolutionary need, growth, for the highest growth. So yes, in that particular incarnation, that immense dragon being chose to come as a weeny little hamster, because she knew that she could really connect with her human in that way and introduce her to these really, really powerful, multidimensional, cosmic concepts. And since we've had our sessions together, this lady's gone on to write the most beautiful poetry, and it's really stepped into her dragon heart and her real I am presence. And that's all from a weeny little hamster. So it's just every time I'm just constantly mind blown by the journey they take us on, and certainly the journey that I've been on. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Going back to the Gosh, I do hope that this sound doesn't come on the video. I'm getting this reverberation. It actually sounds like, I don't know if it's a dragon or a lion, but hopefully it's not in the recording.
Well,
So
you're sounding perfectly clear to me,
I
but
do
I'm sure
good.
that you're feeling.
Yeah, I've never had this before, so something is happening over here. You were speaking about the roaring of the lions, and
Mm,
as I told you, I've never been with a lion other than, yes, I've seen them in zoos. Um, but I had a vision, which was a very important time for me, and this vision came in, bringing me so much power, and it was this very ancient. I want to say a tribal woman, but maybe she wasn't. She looked like very, very ancient and very, very thin, but with muscles. You know, she was solid but
mm,
thin. And she stood on this plain. She looks like she's in Africa in the middle of a plain. And she stood like this. I can't quite show you, but she was holding staffs on either side of her hands. And she was hitting the ground. She told me her name was Nazazu.
mhm.
And she said to me, rattle the bones. And I never quite understood. I thought, oh, maybe this is what they do when they read you the
They
bones
throw the bones, yeah.
and
Mhm.
read the bones for you. And I thought maybe one day I'll have that opportunity. But now that you're saying rattling the bones with the
Mm.
sounds of the lions, I'm thinking the codes of the lions. Oh, I can't even begin to describe what I'm feeling right now. The codes of the lions, which is a sound,
Yes.
but to rattle your bones, I think it's
Mm.
what you were saying about activating
It,
all
it,
of that original
it's almost
original blueprint.
indescribable when you're that close to that volume of frequency and vibration. It is totally awe-inspiring and terrifying at the same time because it's quite primordial. Um, but yeah, and with Shalom talking about the sound scrolls now and releasing, and then people beginning to, or humans beginning to have these new sound chambers to be activated now and to receive these amazing frequencies, like going into the glyphs, and it's just all un, unveiling and unfolding now, and it's so exciting. You know, you mentioned about elephants. I've worked with elephants, and I the word not adopted, but I sponsor a little elephant from the uh, Daphne Sheldrake Elephant Orphanage, and in Nairobi, and they have all these. Oh, I mean, the babies are so cute, but they have such awful traumas. But there was a little one that just grabbed my attention. We went to see them in the morning. They were drinking their milk and everything and playing. And this one, I just knew. She looked at me and I thought, yeah, you're the one. If I was going to sponsor one, you're the one. I really felt it. She's called Laro. She is called Laro. And I always felt this enormous matriarch within her. I feel this incredibly, it's almost a similar, very deep rumble that the elephants have and the whales have, the humpbacks. Um, and I was just looking at this. She was about 2 years old, but really quite small. And I've had this dream that I could go and see them because I've seen documentaries where they put them to bed with their little red blankets and everything. They keep asleep with them, and it's so cute. And I really, really wanted to have the chance to do that. But when we were there, the one day we had a chance to go to the orphanage, they said, "I'm really sorry, but tonight's sort of viewing is completely full." So we put it out there, and we said, "If there are any cancellations, please let us know." And of course, there were two cancellations, so my friend and I could go. And she um, sponsored another elephant, but I went to Laro's stable, where she'd gone have her last bottle of milk and her branch, and she's in a little red, like Maasai kind of blanket. And I want to send some photographs to you because she's so amazing. And I had my hand over the stable door, and she came up and she wrapped her trunk around my wrist quite firmly, quite firmly. But it was just like, I see you, I see you. And she gave me this beautiful download about all the starlight paths, the song paths through Africa where all the elephants come. Every so often, huge herds of elephants congregate. And she was explaining what this was and why they did, and this amazing matriarchal energy. Anyway, eventually now she's been moved with two other elephants to the next kind of graduation for as they get older, they put them up. I think she's in Sado East, I think it is, with the other slightly older elephants. And they just call her the mini matriarch because she's always so caring. She's always looking after everybody else, even though she's probably smaller, one of the smallest ones. So I just thought that was beautiful because I just see and feel her as this immense matriarch, and she also connects me to the mammoth matriarchs, really, really ancient kind of beings, and that's been fantastic as well. So yeah, it's just I just feel such an honor to have this opportunity to have these experiences, and also financially, I don't earn a lot, but somehow, as we know, when you need to do something, somehow the money is there. I had a chance to go to the Kalahari and be with the San Bushmen and met this amazing, amazing kind of real wisdom keeper, with Isak, and having a chance to spend time with them was amazing. And also Credo Mutwa, Baba Mutwa, Baba Credo, he was the real holder of the ancient Zulu wisdom, amazing Zulu shaman. I think David Icke has spent a lot of time with him talking about all kinds of concepts, and spending time with him. And he gave us this lovely ceremony with the group where he sang to us. I got a recording it, and he gave us all our Zulu names. And he said that my name was Nwandle, and he said it is a mermaid, a daughter of the sea. And I thought, oh my God, that's so lovely.
And you said that
Nwandle. It means a mermaid or daughter, and he said daughter of the sea. And I thought, oh my God, that was just, and it was just such a beautiful experience to spend time with him. And I think he was about 93 when we met him. That was back in 2013, and just spend time with his family. But he had so much persecution. One for sharing the ancient wisdom. So from his other Zulu, his peers, but they criticized him for sharing the ancient wisdom, but also from the white humans about him being this shaman, and with apartheid and everything. It's very, very difficult for him.
I know.
Yeah, and he created some incredible sculptures and paintings that were so prophetic, just amazing. But a lot of his sculptures were really badly damaged by people who really resented him, just sharing all this wisdom. But again, having the opportunity to do that was, it's like, how did that happen? I mean, I was a single mum, trying to do the best I could for my children, and just suddenly everything just started to unfold. I had a really, really horrendous year in 2004 where all the kind of rugs underneath me were all pulled away. I went to Egypt in 2003 and met Sekhmet. And I think that was the kind of catalyst for everything to be blown apart, because she creates chaos, but order through chaos. And again, that meeting with Sekhmet was just, and I didn't really know an awful lot about Egyptian law or anything like that, or anything really about Sekhmet. I just kind of went into her beautiful sacred space and put my hand on her statue, and she put her hand on mine, and that was it. So between 2003, I went back again towards the end of 2004 after everything had been kind of completely collapsed. Really, really, very, very tough. And I went to her and I just said to her, did you have to do it all at once? Couldn't you have spaced it out a bit? Couldn't you have, why did it have to be so hard that every single aspect of my life was like completely shattered? And she said, there wasn't time. I had to get you in the space. There wasn't time to space it out. You had to be, or spread it out rather. I had to get you where you are in that moment in 2004. And I think again that was a huge activation with the whole Leonine Lyran connection. So she's always been an amazing protector and motivator for me as well. But yeah, but I just said, couldn't you have spread it out a bit? I said, no, we had to do it, clear everything. So from then, it's just, that was 2004. I'd already been having clients with animal communication, but that's, I think, from then on, things really started to ramp up, because she was saying, right now, are you ready to fly? But I think we all have. It can be a bumpy ride, can't it? It really
Oh,
can.
yeah. Oh, yes. And thank you for sharing that because it's also so important, so that people can appreciate that we're all on this journey, or we're all doing and being and experiencing this amazing experiences, but we're still human, right?
Yeah.
And we still have to go through the stuff. Like, yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
it's not
much.
all happiness and light, but I'm so
Yes.
grateful to all the things that happened to me, because I absolutely know that it's allowed me to the space to really grow and step into who I really am. Thought of me back in at that time, being an author, writing 4 books, doing all this, and I did one of my very first workshops I went on. I did an angel workshop, and that was really interesting. Only my angel was she had an orange clown's wig and dungarees and huge, like, clown's feet. I thought, okay, other people were describing their very, ethereal, beautiful wings, beautiful beings. And I had this clown, really. And I just started doing my teaching degree, and I had to do teaching practice. And she had a feather duster, and she gave it to me. That was her gift for me. And she said, I'm giving you a tickling stick. Tickle their fancy. If you make them laugh, they will learn. So I went, okay. And she said, my name's Muriel. And I thought, oh, because back in the day, I didn't understand about the archangels and everything. I just thought, oh, everybody else was getting these very beautiful angelic names. And I thought, I've got Muriel. Okay. Well, thank you very much. But I was kind of like, trust me to get one called Muriel, who's got an orange wig and big feet. But of course, later I understood that it was a kind of an emissary from Uriel. And when I realized that, I thought, oh, sorry, like, duh. Um, but it's always been with her guidance that in anything I'm teaching or facilitating, I always bring an element of humor in it and kind of laugh at myself, because I think it really makes that connection with people, that not take yourself quite so seriously, and that laughter is the best medicine, and if you can bring that into
Yeah.
a group, it's wonderful, because the vibration of that is so healing and lifting everything. But it did make me smile. But anyway, one of I think with this same person, I did another workshop because I was really curious then, and she suggested that we imagine going forwards either 5 years or 10 years in our life, and to see what we might imagine. Okay, I'll do that. So what I saw, I think it was only 5 years, was me getting on a plane with a briefcase, which I kind of had this feeling was full of really important information that I had to share. Um, and when we kind of came back, and I thought, well, that was a load of rubbish. Who would want me to go fly on an aeroplane? Who would want to listen to anything I could possibly share that would be important? I just dismissed it, because I thought that was just nonsense, because I just was little me, my children, trying to make ends meet. And then, of course, now, I've been going to all over the place, giving lectures and, facilitating courses. And I often smile when I think about what I saw, how dismissive I was of it. And I just think, wow, how lucky am I to have the chance to do this? Because
And how lucky, oops, how lucky are we? Sorry, I keep hearing the sounds back at me.
it's probably the lions roaring. It's probably my
Yes.
fault, because I'm breathing
Yeah,
in.
well, it's good. It's good. How lucky are we to have you, sharing yourself and sharing the frequency of the animals with us, and yes, and teaching us to do that for
Mm,
us with the animals. That is, yeah, so much of what I feel it's where we're at now. I
yeah,
know, people are very keen, and there is some goodness in all technology and in all this artificial intelligence, but there is nothing like communication with the sentient beings. There is nothing
absolutely.
like being aware that we are the technology. And thank you for all the stories that you shared, because you are such an ambassador and such a witness that we will find healing, and we will find peace, and we will find joy and laughter by, you know, by taking those courageous steps to be more present with the
Absolutely. And it's
sentient field.
interesting you mention AI because obviously some amazing things can happen with AI. But when we were recently in Sardinia, had the most amazing adventure with the fairy houses, the giant tombs, and but also the flower fairies, just the most incredible wildflowers there. But we went to a site, I can't remember what it is called now, but anyway, um, we met a lizard there, lots of lizards there, and this one came out and was just sitting on the stone next to us, and we'd seen this a little bit like Terminator kind of beings coming and destroying a lot of that particular site and those temples that were there. And there was this huge, what I was told was a moon mirror that could reflect what might have happened or whatever those multi-dimensional layers are. But the lizard said to me, don't fall into the same trap with AI. Don't fall into the same trap. Just be aware um, and use it wisely. And I
Yes.
think that's really interesting. So again, it's a little lizard that just suddenly popped out of a rock, sat next to me, and just gave me that information. And so I go, right, okay, I hear what you're saying. So um, I think the the films, the consciousness behind Terminator, I think is very interesting because it shows the negatives that could happen if we allow these AI robotic kind of beings to have too much control. And like you say, it's really important that we connect to these sentient beings and the elemental realms, because I love working with the elfin beings, the shining ones and the she. Um, Again, they just bring us back home again. It's bringing us closer
Yes.
to unity.
My my sense, my sense right now with the research I'm doing with plasma, and plasma as being, you know, sentient and being, you know, carrier or intelligence is very, very fast. And so we're just about learning how to receive it. But I feel that, I mean, I've done this. I have asked AI to gather, I often say, can you gather information on something that I'm
Yeah.
researching? And then it brings me all of that. No, I asked for, can you gather me science
Mm-hmm.
and information? And so it gives me papers I can read. That is so fast. And I keep thinking, well, we are also able to receive downloads, obviously, that fast. We
Yeah.
are. We're just not aware how to, you know, how to translate that in for our reality yet, but we
Mm.
are so close. And yeah, so thank you for doing that, and thank you for mentioning the hologram. I love that you shared the white nose dolphin
Yeah.
sending you a hologram in time before you both
Yes.
meet in the
I
physical.
was again. I'm just blown away. I don't know how we're doing
Yeah.
for time, but I've again
Yes,
trying my
thank you.
best very quickly if I can. I could talk for hours, as you've probably gathered.
We'd love to
um,
see you.
but I think back in 2012, another of one of the most amazing things that happened to me, which I wrote about in my book Unity, was this connection to a raccoon. Now we don't, as you probably know, we don't have raccoons in England, um, but this raccoon came into my through my cat flap and into my kitchen. And I heard this noise, and I thought, oh, is that my cat? Because the cat flap really rattled, and I thought, oh no, the cat's lying next to me. I thought, what is that? So I got up and went into the kitchen, only to see this kind of stripy, grey, black and white tail shoot through the cat flap with a real crash. And there were big, wet paws because it tried to get into the dog bowl and everything. And I thought, oh, it must be a big badger. Look at the size of those paw prints. Anyway, so it happened about 3 or 4 nights running. And I still hadn't asked the question, okay, so why have you come here? What's going on? Um, so a couple of my neighbours sort of complained because this, what they thought was a badger, was knocking over their flower pots and things like that and making a mess in their garden. So they called a place called Secret World, which is a badger rescue place. So they came and laid a trap. And my youngest son, who'd left home by then, said, "Mum, are you sure it's a badger?" I said, "Well, yeah, I think so." He said, "Only it's been on the national news. They've captured a raccoon in this trap." I went, oh my gosh. So I kind of gave him the name of Brock because I had assumed it was a badger. Obviously, Brock is a kind of a name for a badger that we say in England. Anyway, I finally, finally got round to asking, okay, so why have you come? Why a raccoon? We don't have raccoons in England. And why did you come to me? And what I got then was about 4 or 5 o'clock every morning. I would get this download, and what I was told was that this raccoon came to me to remind me that it was my future self as a walk-in, and it gave me all this information which I'm still kind of deciphering now because I would just scribble it down. I had my notepad next to the bed, but usually about 5 o'clock in the morning, all this stuff that I didn't know what I was writing or what it meant, but it's little by little making more and more sense. And it's talking about special frequencies of 2.9 megahertz, which actually a whale mother gave me that, but the raccoon elaborated on that. And it said that my future, in inverted commas, Pleiadian self, didn't have a name. It was what I wrote down was EB32H. And then someone said to me, because again it was a bit of a duh moment, well, what about E flat 32 hertz? I went, oh, so it's like there isn't a name, it's a frequency, it's a sound.
Oh wow.
It's my future, say inverted commas, name. And so the downloads I got from that being was absolutely incredible. So
And do you feel, sorry,
no, carry on.
I was just gonna say, do you feel that your future self is actually current? It's current.
Oh
It's
yeah, that's why I put it in inverted commas because it's
yeah,
all happening at the same
yeah.
time. But I mean, of all the things that could have happened, to have a raccoon come into your clap flap in England, it's,
Yes.
and the information that it gave me is just yeah, mind
Amazing.
blowing. But very briefly again, feeling called to go to various places, sacred places, and you've been posting on Facebook your incredible trip to Turkey, and also I feel very connected to the water codes, etc., etc. And I was going to go to Turkey with a couple of friends in May. That was the sort of original plan, and we were looking at the map of Turkey, and we had all this, wanted to do all the tepes and whatever, Cappadocia, all those things. But I also wanted to go to various amazing places around Istanbul, and it just became my dear Argentinian friend Roberta and I. We were looking at this map, and we just became more and more and more overwhelmed, and just thought it's just logistically doing both. It's a huge country, doing the west side and the east side. We only had 2 weeks. It was just too much, and I just thought, my brain's hurting looking at all this. How we could possibly pull this together? And then my friend said, "I'm just getting overwhelmed." I said, "Yes, so am I." So I suddenly said, "Well, what about Sardinia?" Because my other Dutch friend she'd been to a talk about Sardinia and about some amazing places, and we both said, "Ooh, that sounds good." So it completely changed that particular trajectory. So we obviously had to go then, but when I've been seeing your posts, it's just been going. So with the rivers, and also a long time ago being told that I need to go to Nineveh, and I didn't exactly know where Nineveh was, and when I mentioned it to you, you're going, oh. So I hope at some stage I can either come with you or make that journey to those
That would be
places.
that would be so amazing. Oh, so delightful to talk to you and to hear all the stories. It's so awe-inspiring, but real. It's not right. It's not just a story. This is a reality that we can all step up to, and
Yeah,
it's here. It always was here.
totally.
Yeah. And
So
what
the animals
comes
are going,
next?
hello, you are amazing.
Yeah.
We are all, the lions call it the magnificent. We are all magnificent, except
Yes.
many
Thank
of
you.
us don't feel that, but the animals are saying, you really, really are.
And all
You
the
all
ones
are.
listening, all the ones listening to this video. Yeah, remember you are. Remember who you are.
Because the
And
animals really see you for who you really are, and
yes,
that's phenomenal.
it's beyond exciting. And
Mm,
this year is I call it the adaptation year. If we are aware, if we care to be aware, because we
yeah,
can, it's so easy, then what comes is going to be amazing. It's going to be beyond
absolutely.
beyond our dreams, I think, because it hasn't, from what I get, the information I get from the trees and from the animals and from the galactics, is that this has not occurred before. This
No,
is completely new, right? Are you getting that too?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
and just huge gatherings through the star maps. What Shalom said, it creates safe passage for all these beings to come and to assist, but also for us to journey. And I've been feeling a big connection to the Irma, the kind of warrior lions. I didn't know much about them before, but going into the tree and through the star map portals, I just saw all these beings coming, but a whole pride of Irma, and they were in their armor, but they weren't as a sign of aggression. It was just a sign of strength and support. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, so it's so much going on, and it's so exciting.
Oh, I need to have another conversation with you one day soon.
We could
There's
talk for
so much to
hours.
share. 4 hours, my dear. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you, bless
maybe
you,
we can
thank you
do a
so much.
video number 2 soon. Mwah. Thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. And I will put all your details in the description of this video. Anything else you would like to share before we close?
Um, yeah, well, one of Alana said to me, humankind without subjugation. And again, I had to kind of feel into what did that actually mean. And it's again, don't play small. Really be in your lion heart, in your dragon heart. Really be in your multidimensional magnificence.
Mm.
Um, and it's there's just so much. So it's really about my heart to all of your hearts. Thanking you for listening and thanking you so much for inviting me. And just never underestimate your animal friends because they are super, super mega intelligent, super beings. So really enjoy them and really, really uh, just love them because they love you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom and your power and your presence. And yes, thank you for being on the planet with all of us. It's
Oh,
such
thank you.
an amazing time. I look forward to much more, my dear Madeleine. Thank you so much.
Me too.
Much love. Thank you,
Bye for now.
everyone. Much
Bye for now.
love.